if your show rate is under 60% and your first instinct is I need to send more SMS reminders, you are making it worse. Most no-show problems have nothing to do with forgetting. They have everything to do with intent. Adding more automation to a bad lead is like shouting at a deaf person. It doesn't solve the problem, it just annoys them. Today, I'm breaking down the RevPilot Show Rate Diagnostic. This is the exact 3-layer framework that we use to audit $10 million sales teams. All right, so this is the RevPilot Show Rate Diagnostic, and we have been running this for a long time. This has taken us years to put together and identify exactly how to get to the right question as quick as possible when diagnosing show rate problems. Now, we've worked in over 30 different niches, hundreds and hundreds of different sales processes to be able to kind of craft this to make it as easy as possible. I'm going to share the entire thing with you today, and I promise there will be some insights if you take your team through this. So when we are diagnosing show rate, typically the first thing we look at is the pre-call reminders and like the pre-call process. But that is the last thing that we should actually be analyzing. And I have these in order for a reason. I'm going to show you exactly why. Now, at the end of the day, low show rates are not caused by one thing typically, all right? They come from one of the 3 layers that we're going to cover in this video right now. So this framework is going to give you a practical, predictable, and repeatable diagnostic to identify where the breakdown is actually happening, which constraints matter the most, and what to fix in what order, okay? Now, when we come into layer 1, we have lead quality and intent verification, okay? And if you're a sales guy, you're probably going, I knew it was the marketing guys. If you're on the marketing team, you're saying, no, this isn't my problem. But just wait until I break down exactly how to define this, because it may or may not be your problem. So the first question we need to ask is, are we getting the right people on the calendar in the first place? All right. And the reason we want to ask this is because of a few experiments we've ran with different organizations. One of the things that we find to be most helpful is identifying the show rate on qualified leads versus unqualified leads. Okay. The reason we do this, we've had multiple brands, one actually just last week, that came through and they had a 20% show rate on qualified leads and an 80% show rate on unqualified leads. So clearly there's this disparity that we were completely unaware of. If we look at the total show rate, we're looking at a 50% show rate. But when we split these two, now we know that unqualified people show up every single time and highly qualified people don't typically show up. So that is a signal that there is something on the front end of our marketing, on the pre-call framing, that doesn't get these people to show up, right? So these people don't see enough value to actually show up to that call. There's some type of positioning issue with the call and those type of people. So the question is, do we work hard to continue to get everyone to show up, or do we get less of these unqualified people on the calendar? We have more of the qualified people on the calendar, and we focus on this 20% and figure out why in the world is that so low? The second one is comparing show rates between other segments. So breaking down your lead sources. And this one is extremely important because if you're looking at a blended average of your show rate, what you'll begin to notice sometimes is you have a 10% show rate on this one traffic source that's producing 50% of your leads, and you have an 80% show rate on the other 50%. Now, this is a huge problem because again, we're seeing a 50% show rate, but we have a fantastic show rate on these other funnels. So the question becomes now, why this funnel? Why this segment of leads? Okay. And it has to do something with the pre-call framing, the VSL, the marketing, the framing of the call itself, right? Whatever it is, but that lead source, we might as well turn it off until we solve that problem. And magically, your show rate will skyrocket. Okay. So the first thing to do is segment between qualified and unqualified leads, segment by lead source, and start analyzing your show rate in buckets instead of as a blended average. Okay, that is going to get you so far. But we have to do this before we go to layer 2. Now, I'm just going to run through these bullet points real quick. So warning signs of layer 1 failure: unqualified leads show up more than qualified leads, a high variance between traffic sources, your intent questions are too soft, no hard filters or gating on the front end, broad audience hitting the VSL and application, organic traffic is wide. So people don't really understand your brand or why they're there. Now, if this layer is broken, stop, okay? You need to fix your marketing, messaging, qualification, filtering before you do anything else. Now, if this layer is not broken, if you don't see any issues here, we can move on to layer 2. Now, layer 2 is called positioning and framing. And the question here is, do prospects actually understand why this call matters and why does it matter to them. All right, let's take my own company as an example here, okay? We sell a very logical product. You have problems with your show rates, you need to fix them, okay? You have a CRM that's a complete mess and you need to fix it, okay? Logical problems, logical solutions. Now, our marketing still needs to reflect emotion. It still needs to have urgency in there, right? Now, how do we market to founders with these types of problems? Well, I could just run an ad that says, hey, if your show rates are below 50%, book a call with us. All right. But in that VSL, in the pre-call positioning, I actually want to be pulling out the emotions. So what does the low show rate cause you guys as founders? Well, it creates inconsistency in your revenue. Now, you got to take it a step further. With inconsistency of revenue, what does that cause? Well, fights at home. It keeps you up at night, right? You lose sleep over it. You keep trying new things. So you never actually go all in on one thing, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this huge level of emotion underneath these problems. So we have to make sure that the prospect, as we're framing this book to call, understands that. So even a high intent lead won't show up if the call feels generic, the value is unclear, the stakes are low, or it looks like another sales call. You got to remember that most people booking a sales call with you probably booked 3 or 4 other sales calls with similar companies, right? So what separates you? And this again precedes the pre-call sequence. If you try to fix a pre-call sequence, but they're already lost before they even booked a call or at the time of the booking, now you have to load all of this emotion into that pre-call. And it's so hard to do. It's not going to fix your problem. So most teams severely underestimate how important call framing is. What to diagnose? Does a confirmation page sell the call? And when I say sell the call, a lot of confirmation pages we look at are literally just, hey, thank you so much for booking a call. Please show up in a quiet place with a pen and paper, okay? What we really need to be doing is explaining what will happen, why it matters, what problem the call is going to solve, and what outcomes they're going to walk away with, even if they don't purchase. Okay, what outcome are they walking away with? Now, does the VSL establish urgency or relevance? Before booking the call, do they already have urgency? Do they know that they are a perfect fit for this? And do they understand, again, what is that outcome that they're going to achieve? Now, is the reason to show up emotional? We already talked about that. And then does the prospect know what to bring, what will happen in the first 5 minutes, and what they'll walk away with? What to bring, I want to touch on because a lot of times, again, it's like, bring a pen and paper. We don't care about that. At the end of the day, we need them showing up with something. So if it's a fitness offer, we want them showing up with the numbers on the scale for the last 3 months, right? If they've tracked it. We want them showing up with their macros that they've been tracking. If it's a offer like ours, we need them showing up with their show rates. What is your historics on your show rates? What is your historic close rate? How many leads have you brought in? Go find these numbers, show up to the call with those so we can be as effective as possible. Okay. Now, warning signs of layer 2 failure. Confirmation page is logistics only. No real emotional hook. There's no examples, case studies, or outcome stories. One of the best things you can do in that confirmation call is be like, literally do a full case study. So, hey, so glad you booked your call. I want to show you an example of one of the clients who took this call and did whatever with it, right? Next up is no clarity or why now. And then prospect doesn't immediately know what the call will solve, okay? It needs to be extremely clear. If this layer is broken, again, fix this before going to the pre-call sequence because you can't build urgency in a reminder sequence. Doesn't exist. Layer 3 is the pre-call system and humanization, all right? So if we don't have a problem with all that other stuff, I can guarantee like 95% of you do have a problem with that. Then we can move to layer 3. So then the question becomes, does your pre-call experience feel real, fast, and personal, okay? Most closers think that they need better reminders. What they actually need is better human connection. So if you're a sales rep watching this or a sales manager watching this, how much actual connection is in that pre-call? Is this an automated reminder or are we actually connecting with the client? So what to diagnose? How fast does contact happen after the booking? Speed to lead is going to be very, very important. Is there two-way engagement on day one? I'm going to talk about that in a second. Does the automation sound human? How many channels are being used? Is there a human handoff? Are voice notes and video notes personalized or generic? And then is the pre-call sequence stacked properly? Okay. So if you've purchased one of our pre-call sequence trainings before, then you would know this. We layer it. So we have automated reminders. Those are like the WhatsApp or calendar reminders that just go out. You have email and text message. You go call confirmation 24 hours before, 3 hours before, 10 minutes before. Those should be going out. It's a click of a button. Those should be going out regardless. But that is not your reminder or show up sequence. What we want to do is trigger within 5 minutes of the call being booked. We want to trigger a text message that confirms the call was booked, and then we got the call. So something as simple as, hey, Simon, just got your call booked. Okay. Confirm that we got the call booked. Then we want to proceed with a question. And this is where the personalization comes in. This is where the humanization comes in, where we are going to present a question of some sort. So for our own organization, it might be something like, curious, how many sales reps do you have on your team? Curious, what CRM are you currently on? Make sure it's obviously not already in the application, so you're not redundant, but we want to ask a question. Now, the goal of this is to incite a response. If we can get a response to that, now we can have a conversation. And a lot of teams depend on these automations to have that entire conversation. You need to have that conversation, okay? It is your lead at that point. They've shown intent, they've booked a call, and they're ready to show up. So you as a sales rep or your sales reps need to have a pre-call conversation. All right. We don't want AI doing this. We don't want an automation doing this. If you have 5 booked calls a day, that means you only have a couple people to be communicating with at any given time. I promise if your system is set up right to handle this, you will be able to have those conversations and your clients will respect it. Now, here are the core levers that are going to move the show rate. So we have speed to lead, conversational touches, not notifications, human-based confirmation, same-day stacking, and then video preview. Speed to lead, we talked about that within the first 5 minutes. Conversational touches, not notifications. So questions, not reminders. Human-based confirmation. We talked about that as well. One thing I did not mention is how many channels are being used. So SMS, iMessage, WhatsApp, voice notes, and Vidyard or Loom. One of the best things for B2B is send a Loom video. Hey, this is Brian, just got your call booked. I was checking out your website, super excited to talk. Curious, ask the question, send the Loom video, and have them respond, okay? Same day stacking. 3 to 5 touches in the first 4 to 8 hours outperform daily reminders. So instead of sending one message on day 1 and then one on day 2, send as many as you can in that front load. Front load it. Like if they're human and they booked a call and they actually have interest, they're going to reply. And if they don't, you either need to get that call off your calendar or you need to get a hold of them. Okay. So warning signs of a layer 3 failure, all reminders, no conversation, messages feel automated, sparse touch points, no early human verification, no voice or video components, and setters are not confirming that the lead is real. All right. Now, lastly, the rule of order. Never fix pre-call before fixing framing. Never fix framing before you fix lead quality. If you fix these in the wrong order, you waste time and money. Okay, I promise, do it in this order, test each of these, and you will fix your show rate, or at minimum, identify exactly what is happening with your show rate so that you have a chance at fixing it in the future. So if you would like this PDF, go ahead and leave a comment in the description below. We'll go ahead and send you that PDF. Otherwise, I hope this video is helpful. Subscribe if you want more content related to your sales process and how to fix these annoying issues inside of it. Otherwise, we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.